Okay, so if you listen to the show, you might not know, but if you do, bear with us. But essentially, England have won. They've beaten Netherlands by 6 wickets in Amstelveen, comfortably overcoming the target of 236. It was a rain-affected game, 41 overs per side, and one that threatened not to even get started at one point. There was concerns, mutterings, and problems with water on the outfield. Essentially, there was a feeling that it may cause injury, but in the end, despite the fact that there was no sun to dry it out, the wind did the trick, and we got a game 3 hours after we should have done. Netherlands won the toss for the second time in the match, or rather in the series, and this time decided to bat under cloudy skies and were soon in trouble. 36 for 3 when Cooper was dismissed, but there was decent partnerships from that point onwards. Peter Saylor, who sadly announced his international retirement during the game, the captain for the first match, well, his captaincy position was taken by the wicketkeeper Scott Edwards. And in partnerships with first up Bas de Leede, which saw Netherlands get to 97 before de Leede departed for 34, trying to smash Lim Livingston out the ground. And then Teju Nidomanuru, who put on another 73 for the 5th wicket before he too departed, going for a big shot. Really saw Netherlands through to a position of respectability. Tim Pringle was out on debut, second ball, and Edwards himself was run out for 78. Direct throw from the deep by David Willey, but Logan van Beek and Shane Snater took Netherlands to a decent first innings score. 2-3-5 for 7 from their 41. It was over to the bowlers, and if they were to cause any problems, they were going to need to take early wickets. They didn't. In fact, it was a handsome first wicket partnership which took the game irrefutably away from Netherlands. Jason Roy on his 100th cap hit 73. Phil Salt 77. Owen Morgan, for the second match in a row, was out for a duck. 7-ball duck and an ugly shot as well. Liam Livingston was deceived by a Butte. And then it was over to Milan and Moeen Ali to see England home, winning the game and taking the series. So, I'm alongside Jared Kimber. And first things up, Jared, I suppose credit to Netherlands. They have actually made a game of things and showed that they can compete after they were walloped on match day 1.
If they'd made 30 or 40 more runs, this would have been a really interesting game because that pitch did start to spin. They got the toss right. The problem was that they lost early wickets and that Max O'Dowd and Vikram Jeet and Tom Cooper were the 3 because they're the 3 guys who could score at a decent rate and put on a good total. Scott Edwards pulled them back though, and then he ran himself out. So again, the tail had to get them to the score. So they probably left about 30 or 40 runs out in the middle. And I think if they'd done that, maybe there was enough in this wicket to get them home. So it's a real shame for them. But the fact that at one stage it looked like England, I mean, Dutt was 41 runs after 4 overs. And it looked like England were going to completely run over them. And then Dutt became unplayable after that. To have a young player who'd been hit out of the attack in the previous game bowl like that, nothing but respect. Even Tim Pringle as well in his first game. I thought they learnt some lessons from the last game. So when people say things like, what did the Dutch learn? Well, have a look at this game. They bowled better. They literally, the way that Dutt bowled to Jason Roy shows you he's been thinking about how to bowl to right-handers who smash him, because the other night he bowled to right-handers who smashed him. These things matter.
Absolutely. Let's actually hear from the England captain, Owen Morgan, who's been speaking with Niall O'Brien.
I've got a very happy captain, Owen Morgan. Big smile, 2 up in the series. Happy camp.
Yeah, delighted. I think the guys have played really well again today. Impressed with the ball. It's great to see Bride and Cars come in and hit the series with plenty of energy, plenty of pace, and offer something different than we've seen so far in the series. And with the bat up top, the guys, Phil Salt again, showing what he does at the top of the order and contributing in the fashion that he likes doing alongside Jason Roy in his 100th game. So it was a pretty amazing start. We stuttered for a bit but managed to recalibrate a partnership and get something to get us over the line.
Yeah, that stutter you mentioned, if you were chasing another 20 or 30, it might have been a little bit difficult. Your bowlers did a good job, I thought.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. Obviously, home advantage here. The Netherlands batted first for a good reason. It did slow up a little bit, offer a little bit of turn, similar to the back end of their innings. But we bat so deep nowadays that I think it'll probably be another 40 that might have troubled us.
You talk about batting deep. What about the strength in the squad? We're not just talking about the 15 or 16 here. There's probably another 15 at home you can call upon. I asked Jason Roy the same question. Is English cricket in a stronger position now than you were when you leading into 2019 World Cup and you won that tournament?
Yeah, I think that strength and depth grows deeper and deeper. We seem to keep producing a lot of batsmen that are very aggressive, very talented and willing to take the world on, and that's a huge complementary to the artillery that we already have. It's in a similar instance, India have a lot of batsmen that they could turn to and call upon at any time, but obviously the skill within that is picking the right side that complements a winning team.
Just before I let you go, you know how difficult it can be to be an international captain. Peter Saylor has announced his retirement. You've known Peter a long time. Just a message and a word on Peter's career.
Yeah, it's been amazing. His contribution to Dutch cricket has been outstanding. On behalf of the England cricket team, we'd like to congratulate him on his retirement and wish him well on his next journey.
Fantastic. Oh, well, 2-0 up the series. Good luck Wednesday.
Thank you.
Owen Morgan, who scored a second successive duck, looking on impassionately, impassively, passively.
Looking at it,
Jared. How do you view Owen Morgan's position within this side?
It's interesting because England have sort of created this own monster, and Brendan McCullum gets this as well, where I don't know what it is about English cricket. You sort of invest too much into these people, into the power of the identity. Realistically, he's either good enough to play in the side or he's not. And at the moment, he doesn't look like he's good enough to play in the side. And if that's the case, there's plenty of white ball batters out there who can do his job. Will they be as good as captaining as him? Probably not, let's be honest. But realistically, if he can't... Part of the reason they were so good, especially at one-day cricket, is because Root and Morgan were unassailable in the middle, which meant that the top three could go really, really hard and they would save them. At the moment, that's just not the case. Right? So, he's won a World Cup for you. Doesn't mean he gets to play for the... Otherwise, Arjuna Ranatunga would still be playing for Sri Lanka. Right? There is a certain point where you have to make that decision. The only thing I would say based on that is we do see Owen Morgan go through incredible high highs and incredible low lows. This is not the first time I've seen him look like he cannot hit the ball off the square, only to then him make 80 off 40 in the next game, and you're like, oh, okay, it's still Owen Morgan.
Jason Roy... he missed out like Owen Morgan did in the first match, but he wasn't going to make that mistake again. Didn't top score. That was Phil Salt with 77, but he hit 73. And the Surrey and England man was also caught up with Niall O'Brien.
Jay Roy, well played, brilliant innings, but which did you enjoy? Your innings or the moment with your family out there to receive your 100th cap?
Mate, to receive my 100th cap is a huge honour, especially in this side. To be playing with this team for 100 games is absolutely incredible. So extremely grateful for that, and nice to get a few runs, obviously.
A nice win for England, a couple of bit of stutter at the back end, but job done in the end.
Yeah, I mean, a slight stutter, maybe. They bowled well there, they fielded well in the end there and put some pressure on us. We managed to get over the line, so happy.
A new partnership up front with yourself and Phil Salt. The energy and the batting that you have together as a partnership, enjoying that?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. He's a lovely fella, great to bat with and whacks it extremely hard, so always fun to play with people like that, and he keeps it very simple, so it worked out today.
Tell us a little bit about this English lineup. Unbelievable side, playing with confidence right through from 1 to 11. Guys waiting on the sideline hungry. Is this a stronger side, stronger squad than leading into 2019, obviously World Cup champions? Is it English cricket in a healthy state?
English cricket is in a very healthy state. We've got some great players that are willing to do anything. They're training extremely hard and putting the work in, and that's exciting to see. So they're all getting their opportunity along the way. It's just nice to be back out here at the Badger.
Good man. Father's Day, you did yourself and your family proud. Well played, Jason.
Father's Day, yeah, nice one. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Well done.
Cheers.
And that partnership was key. Well, it was important, wasn't it? Because, if Netherlands had taken a couple of wickets early and then you've got Morgan coming in and he's under a little bit of pressure and he's scratching around a little bit. And then, of course, we did see some spin. The pitch did become much more friendly to the bowlers. Netherlands have beaten England before. They've done it twice, and we've talked about it a lot. The fact that Jason Roy and Phil Salt came out, played the manner that they did, we've seen Jason do that many, many times. It just put England into a position where they basically couldn't lose.
Yeah, I think we know that there's, and this is why Netherlands decided to bat first, we knew that it was going to be some degradation of the pitch, and it was going to help spinners a little bit more. Probably did more than anyone expected by the end of that game, but it meant that England were there from a position of strength. If they'd batted, like, there are other teams in the world that wouldn't have gone as hard early on in this sort of a game, and they might have got themselves into a tricky position in this chase. But England were, even when they lost wickets, were ahead of the rate just because they had scored so much quicker. And that's what they do. They put pressure on you in that way so that if they do lose wickets, all they have to do is start knocking the ball around safely. And that's essentially what they did to win the game. From a bowling perspective, how did you rate England's attack? Yeah, I thought the spinners got worked over by Scott Edwards a little bit, who, you know, it's only really in associate cricket that you come across someone who'll play a sweep every ball no matter where you pitch it and how you pitch it. And that means he's very tough to bowl against. The quicks, I thought Reece Topley bowled really well early on. I thought David Willey got some late swing, and whether that was a reverse, probably was reverse. He actually moved the ball both ways with the reverse, which I thought was quite interesting. Didn't get any early swing. And Bryden Carse is probably just a little bit too quick for the Dutch players. We're not in those situation that we used to be, where you say things like, they're not used to quick bowling. They're used to quick bowling. They've got some quick bowlers themselves, and Dirk Nannes bowled for them back in the day. But to be able to score consistently off someone bowling at 90 miles an hour is an extra pressure on someone like Bastelida, who's a young player who hasn't played much cricket, and some of the other players like Nida Manuru, I think, is quite a good player of spin, and he's quite an organised player. We know he's played a lot in English cricket, but he's going to be used to guys bowling 75 to 85 miles an hour, and that extra 5 miles an hour I thought bothered them. So I thought Carse was good there as well. Yeah, there was a period where Carse was bowling late 80s at one end, and Adil Rashid was bowling his full range of leg breaks and googlies at the other, and it really looked like Netherlands were about to implode. There was a couple of chances which, Scott Edwards should have been run out. We haven't talked much about that. I reckon England missed 5 run-outs. Well, Butler could have run Edwards out twice in one ball and hit the stumps twice, but just didn't dislodge the bail. So it was an incredible period, and Netherlands were 3 down with not many on the board. They just about got through that 6-over spell, and as soon as Ali came on, the pressure was released. They found him a lot easier to combat than Rashid, and Carse had bowled his spell. Again, the pace was really putting pressure on Netherlands. So, credit to them, they got through it. But you mentioned Scott Edwards, the captain, and he's also been speaking with Niall O'Brien.
Scott Edwards alongside me. Scott, a difficult afternoon, but probably a more competitive performance than Friday.
Yeah, there were plenty of positives for us today. Obviously put up a better performance. The bowling was a lot better. But, England's they're a class outfit, and, that opening partnership probably cost us a bit, and maybe 30 runs short.
Your own form, you're playing beautifully with the batch. Happy with your own form?
Yeah, feeling good out there. Today was probably a little bit of a missed opportunity to really get that score up to 260, but no, feeling good.
Boys, with the ball, I thought some of the youngsters did well. Pringle on debut looked good. Yeah,
he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he was brave with how he bowled, which is what we asked from him, so it was awesome.
Could you have been braver with bat in hand?
Yeah, potentially. Although I don't think we were far off the mark there. I think it was, a couple of wickets, in that 35th over or so that probably cost us that 30 runs.
A couple of days off between game 2 and 3. What are you going to focus on?
Again, I think it's that power play. That's where they've got a hold of us, so we've just got to figure out a few better plans to that. And looking forward to the next game.
Wonderful. Bad luck. All the best for Wednesday.
Cool. Cheers, mate.
Scott Edwards speaking with Niall O'Brien. Okay, so, Jared, we've still got one match to come. It's going to be on TalkSport 2 on Wednesday. We spoke a lot after that first match about what Netherlands could do to come back from that whooping. We also spoke a lot about England breaking the 500 barrier. They've only got one more chance to do it in this series. The conditions hopefully will be a little bit more batter friendly. You imagine the team that wins the toss will bat first, but we shall see. But essentially from a Netherlands perspective, I suppose what they would like to see is yet more improvement from their bowlers. They may bring in 1 or 2 changes again just to give everybody a tryout. England, I imagine, will try the 2 players that haven't yet had a game. But essentially, if they do get to bat first, it will be about trying to get more runs on the board before you lose your first 3 wickets, and then over to England.
Yeah, I mean, they're batting Baz Delidi at 4 and Scott Edwards at 5. I think in a perfect situation, Edwards probably bats at 6 and Baz Delidi bats at 7. It's not a deep batting lineup. They're having to, the Netherlands are having to mix things up a little bit. And they're going to go into the next game knowing they don't have Peter Salar again. Sadly, he's retired because of his back injury midway through the series. An incredibly important player in the history of Dutch cricket, really, which means their bowling's weaker. But I just think their bowling picked up so much between the 2 games that unless they get a Joss Butler and Liam Livingstone special, they shouldn't be trapped again in that. I really do think they've improved so much in this series already.